Our next guest on the show, a platinum selling artist from Canada. And, we've got a bit of a Canada connection here with our listeners as well. Tebey with us today. And first off, brother, I appreciate you taking some time to be on the show.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Now, tell us, I know I asked you before we came on this morning about if you're still in Canada. I know you're born and raised there, but kind of split in time there. Where did the original love of music come for you?
Oh man, I don't know. I grew up singing in church. My parents were both they weren't musicians, but they loved music. My mom played the piano, so that's kind of where my love of music initiated from. And then eventually I moved to Nashville when I was 15 years old. So I've been in the States a long time, and Nashville's home. It's been home for a really long time, and I'm still here.
And there's a lot of international flair in Nashville these days. I mean, and it seems like it grows and grows each year. And I'm sure, Tebey, on your side, you could see that firsthand as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I'm aging myself a little bit, but I've been in Nashville quite a long time, and things are changing. I mean, it's not the same town that it used to be, for better or worse. I mean, I'll leave that up to the people listening to this, but it's growing. I mean, the city is growing so much. Obviously, music changes as the genre develops. But yeah, no, Nashville's a great place to be. Happy to be living here. Weather's a little nicer than in Canada.
Yeah, just slightly, right?
Yeah,
a little better winter.
Just a little.
Now, Tebey, tell us about the new single. I mean, it's a song for the summer, and it has that vibe. I mean, how excited are you to have this one out, especially as folks are looking for something summer-wise to really appreciate?
Yeah, absolutely. The new single is called "Song of the Summer." I was kind of sitting on that title, that idea, for quite some time, and then I got together with my usual co-writers, Danik Dupel and Jimmy Thau, and yeah, we knocked that one out. It took about 3 or 4 sessions to get "Song of the Summer" where it needed to be, and then we just started working on the production for it for the record. But yeah, the initial response for this one has been fantastic. It reminds me a little bit of Denim on Denim when we released that, which just went platinum. So it's been a great first few weeks of this song, and we'll see what it does.
And right now, how is feedback changed now as opposed to what you're used to pre-pandemic time frame, if you will?
I mean, not much. I mean, there's still haters on the internet. those guys ain't going anywhere. But now, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting out and playing shows. I'm actually heading over to the UK and Germany tomorrow, actually, on a little 3-week run of shows over there. So I'm looking forward to that. Just being up on stage again. I mean, that's why I do what I do. I mean, having your songs on the radio is obviously amazing, and it's an opportunity for people to hear your music. But I mean, I make music for the live shows. I really do, just to be able to play the songs for the fans, and that's where you get the most gratification. So I'm looking forward to that the most.
What's it like? How do you prepare yourself to go overseas for 3 weeks? How do you mentally prepare yourself, especially since the shows have not been coming and going like they used to?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the shows are concerned, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit nervous. Typically, I don't get nervous at all for shows. I mean, I've done this a long time, unless there's like a song where I don't know the lyrics or something like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be the first show back might be a little awkward's not the word, but just getting your feet back underneath you. But it's going to be great. I mean, I love the UK. I lived over there for a very short amount of time. And Germany's great as well. It's just nice to get out of Dodge. I've been stuck here in Nashville pretty much for 18 months. I just got back from vacation with my kids and my wife. We were out on the West Coast, but I miss the UK. I really do enjoy it over there, and it's a nice little break.
What would you say for country music lovers out there? What's the difference between American country music lovers and country music lovers elsewhere? I've never traveled outside the States, so I wonder how they intake, if you will.
Well, I mean, Canadian and American fans are pretty much the same. I mean, really, I mean, there's a border in between us, but we're really not that much different. I think people are always surprised to hear that. It's not like going to Europe. Canada is very much like the States, but Yeah, I think the fans are over on this continent pretty much the same as far as that's concerned. In the UK, they're a lot more polite, and I don't mean that as a swipe at the fans over here. They're just
Right.
they like to sit and listen. That's just kind of how it is. But I'm actually playing my first festival show in Manchester, UK, coming up here in a couple of weeks. So I'm curious to see how they're going to be in a festival setting, because that's, if they're going to get rowdy at all, it's going to be in a festival.
So how do you what was it like the first time you got in front of a crowd in the UK? I mean, because especially if you're used to the reaction and being a part of the music, I mean, obviously that's a bit of a change, right?
Yeah, it's always a big change because in Canada, I'm pretty successful. People know me, people know the music. So it's when people are coming out to see my show, it's typically because they're a fan. But in the UK, I mean, I'm starting from scratch. So I'm just trying to build the fan base over there. And that was the hardest thing about playing shows over there, where people don't really know who you are. So you're basically starting at the bottom again, which is very humbling. But that's been the biggest thing, and I look forward to getting back, because I've got some songs that are doing really well, especially Song of the Summer, doing really, really well in the UK and Germany, and you just got to keep going back and grinding it out and building the fan base over there.
Now, to sell the idea that you're a country music singer, do you like wearing extra big belt buckle or any like any rhinestones or anything walking down the street to help you out?
You know what? I was with a friend the other day, and I'm like, man, you got to see this Stetson hat that I have. And he's like, what the hell are you doing with a Stetson? I'm like, man, I got it when I was a kid. But yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about country music. You don't got to look a certain way anymore. You don't got to sound a certain way anymore. There's been a lot of artists that have kind of opened the doors for people like myself, maybe Kane Brown, Taylor Swift, people that kind of, I don't want to say live on the pop side of country music, but they certainly have their foot in the pool over there. I would definitely not consider myself a pop artist, because I'm not, but the country music that I make tends to be more towards the Dan and Shay side of things. But hey, that's all good. There's room for everybody in the genre. And yeah, really, that's it.
How crazy is it to be a part of a genre where you can get anywhere from Mark Chestnut to Colt Ford and everything in between, and even delving into, I mean, you got the Nashvilleans and others like that are more of the driving Southern rock. I mean, to be a part of a group that's so welcoming, it seems, especially over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, great music is great music, and people forget about that. People are always, I find that, especially people on the internet, they always got something to complain about. They're complaining that country music doesn't sound like it used to and stuff. And that's fine. Everyone's completely entitled to their opinion. There's a lot of pure traditionalists out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. I personally love that music. I love George Strait and Alan Jackson and Mark Chestnut and all the classics. But music evolves. It just is what it is. I mean, it's evolved since the Beatles, and they're arguably the best artist ever in the history of music. So I just do what I do. I just make the music that I love. It definitely is within the country genre, and I personally have written enough hit songs for other people that I think I got my pulse on what's going on here in Nashville.
That's right. Now, you talk about the evolution of music. Is there any part of the evolution that you try to fight against, as if people are bringing ideas into you, or are you pretty open to evolve it a little?
I mean, I love all different kinds of music. I really do, and I try to bring some of those influences into my records or into the country music genre. Usually, it's the melodies. I tend to try to find melodies that you wouldn't expect per se in the genre. So that's that for me. I just try to be different without taking it too far, and I think that's the key there. A lot of people try to be different, and then they end up just pushing themselves out of the genre, and that's not what I want to do. I know where my music lives, and just gonna keep doing it.
That's right. Now, you teamed up with Una Healy on the single as well, and man, the part of vocals that she adds into it, I mean, it just sets the song ablaze. I mean, how cool is it to work with her, and Irish country coming in on that side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually still haven't met Una because of this whole pandemic situation, because she's in Ireland and obviously I'm in Nashville. But yeah, it was great to work with her. I'm going to meet her when I get over to the UK in a couple of days. She's fantastic. I've been a fan of Una's for a long time. A lot of your listeners probably aren't familiar with what she's done, but She was in a massive girl group called the Saturdays in the UK, just absolutely massive. And she's gone on to be very successful as a television personality and also a singer in her own right. So it was great to work with her. It was basically a cold call. I had my management call up her team, and I'm like, I really want Una to sing on this song. We were looking for someone that was outside of the genre. There's a lot of country music duets. I feel like Lauren Elena has sang on every possible duet that there there is right now, and I just didn't want. No offense to Lauren, you know what I mean. And I just wanted someone a little bit different. So we went after Una, especially for the European market and the UK market, and she said she would do it, which is awesome. And we're off to a really really strong start over there. I think we're closing in on 1 million streams. So already it's only been like a month.
Now, how has looking at socials, looking at streaming numbers and stuff like that? I mean, do you just bang your head against the wall trying to get everything in line, if you will?
Yeah, it's tough. The business has changed a lot since I first got started with social media, Spotify, Apple Music, things like that, all the streaming platforms. So how people access their music is a lot different, of course. I think we're going to be done with actual physical CDs very soon if we're not already. But yeah, it's a lot to set up a release, especially something like this where the song, there's numerous versions of this song. I mean, Song of the Summer was not written as a duet. I recorded it just as one of my own songs, and we ended up doing an acoustic mix and then a poolside mix and then a duet mix. So we've got all these different mixes of the song.
I'm waiting for the Paul Oakenfold remix, right?
We'll see. Maybe David Guetta.
There you go. Now the Nashville meets London. How cool is it to be a part of that? And I know International Country Music during CMA Fest every year they have a special night for the internationals. Well, CMA Fest not happening this year, so taking it to London. How cool is that? And talk about some of the other artists that are a part of that as well.
Yeah, really, really cool. I've been going to the UK for quite a while now. Lived there for a little bit, and I've seen the growth of country music in that territory. I think in the UK and Ireland in particular. I mean, look how big Garth Brooks was, right? It wasn't Garth selling like 50, 60,000 tickets in Ireland at one point back in the late 90s or early 2000s. So country music's always been popular. It's just the issue that they have over there is there's not a lot of country radio.
Right.
So it's harder for people to access music, even though they have the streaming platforms. They get in their car, they turn on the radio, they're not going to hear country music. So you just kind of have to just keep going over there and building the fan base. But yeah, the fans are fantastic. They love the music, they really, really do, and they're invested. Once you make those fans, you make them for life, which is not really that much different to fans in the States. Country music fans are extremely loyal.
Now, what has the songwriting been like for you this last year? I love talking to songwriters and musicians and finding out, did inspiration change? Was it harder to find, or was it easier for you?
No, it wasn't any more difficult. I mean, I think like everyone else, I kind of just took a bunch of time off. Luckily we had the music ready to go, so I didn't have to scramble and was trying to make records in the middle of this pandemic. But yeah, no, it wasn't too, things haven't changed too much in my world. I mean, we're almost back to normal now, and I look forward to start working on the new record probably in October.
Now, who are the artists that are out there today that inspire you, that you see what they're doing and you're like, yeah, I like that? Who's out there that's doing that for you?
At this point, I don't think it's about necessarily inspiration. It's about admiration. I'm a huge Kenny Chesney fan. Back when I had a record deal in Nashville, when I was signed to Sony, Kenny and I were label mates. So I've been able to be around Kenny a little bit over the years, and he's such a nice guy. I'm the biggest fan of Kenny Chesney. Dierks Bentley as well. I've hung out with Dierks numerous times. Such an amazing person. So those are the guys right there that I admire. I admire people like Sam Hunt and Kane Brown simply because they're staying true to who they are, and they're kind of pushing the envelope a little bit while remaining respecting country music and what it's about. So there's a lot of people that I admire at this particular moment.
Now, how different does it really in Nashville? You talked about Kane Brown, you talked about the Sam Hunts, you talk about the Dan and Shays. How long did it take for those kind of artists to get even accepted in Nashville? Or was, by the time they came around, was it pretty easy, or was it a pretty long road, if you will?
I mean, I think for them, not Dan and Shay, but for Sam Hunt and especially Kane Brown, I think it was difficult for them. I mean, I actually know Kane's manager, Martha, really, really well. I've known him for 20 years. It was a struggle in the beginning because he is different. He looks different. He sounds different, and all those things. But in the end, I feel like country radio's hand was forced because they had no choice. I mean, when you've got people selling out thousands and thousands of tickets and streaming millions upon millions of streams, I mean, they kind of had no choice but to give in and to play their music. And that's all that artists really ask for, is the opportunity to be heard. There's always going to be people that push back against what you do. It doesn't matter if you're bending the genre or if you're straight down the middle. It just kind of is what it is. But yeah, but for those guys, I mean, I know they grinded really, really hard and tried to get where they need to be, and now they're in a good spot.
And you talk about the grind. How much does the grind that you had to go through for the years make you appreciate, like, heading over to the UK, getting to do this for 3 weeks? How much do you still look back at those lean days and just be extra thankful for where you're at today?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've been really fortunate, whether it's with my songwriting. I mean, you can kind of see some of the plaques behind me, but yeah, I mean, shoot, I consider myself, one of the 1% in this business that can actually make a living doing music. I mean, there really isn't a lot of people who are able to say that. There's a lot of people that kind of wish they were in my position. So yeah, I definitely don't take it for granted. I mean, I make music for a living. Can't get much better than that. But as I said earlier, going over to the UK and Europe, I mean, it's like starting from scratch. So it's very humbling, and you definitely still have to have the desire to be successful. Or if not, you're just not going to put in the work in those territories to build the fan base.
That's right. And how much do you have to rely on the socials? Is that this last year helped you with that because, well, you didn't have any other way?
No. I'm not a big fan of social media. Just if I'm honest, I really am not. So I just do my very best. I try to post things I think people might like to see. But as far as social media, it's tough sometimes. I think it's like a generational thing as well. I think I'm like right on the cusp of just being outside of the cool zone as far as social media is concerned.
I'm way out of the cool zone. But I'm comfy with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now, Tebey, if folks want to find not only more information about the single, your previous singles, upcoming tour dates, where can folks keep up with all of that information?
Yeah, any of the social media platforms, Tebey Music, and that's Tebey Music. I think it's Instagram and Facebook. It's Tebey Music. On Twitter, it might just be Tebey, but we'd love to have you. I love growing the American fan base as well. It's really, really cool whenever I see someone from Oklahoma or from California on my socials saying that we just found your music through Spotify or whatever. It's really, really cool because I haven't played shows in those places. I've played a ton of shows in Canada and here in Nashville, but I've never been to Oklahoma for a show. I'm waiting on Blake to invite me, but he hasn't done that yet. But it's fine. He's gonna come around.
Well, pass along my number because in my 20 years in radio, he's about the only Okie that I have not interviewed yet either. So,
man, what's funny is he actually recorded one of my songs recently.
Oh wow,
that's kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to meeting Blake at some point.
That's cool. Well, Tebey, I appreciate you taking some time to visit with us today. Safe travels as you head out, and hopefully, brother, we can catch you real soon and get you playing a show in Oklahoma.
I would love to. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.